they go about it. Here we go. These two teams, they like to play similarly, right? Rudude and Hawk broke that down on the desk. The ban's coming through so far. They're not going to give Weiser the Gnar, and they're not going to give Yampy the Poppy either. I thought that Poppy might have been something we saw on the other side, and we talked about it in the green room. Vi was maybe going to be a pick to look at for Yampy, but the high jungle priority, if this is in fact locked in, very prevalent here early.
And notably, what's absent for Y4 is the Olaf ban. I would have thought that, okay, if INTZ are going to ban the Gnar, it'd be in response to an Olaf, because that's been their answer to Weiser's Olaf. But instead, Pain are saying, no, we still think we have an answer to this Olaf. We're not worried. The first big switch over to Sivir. We knew Ninja Kiwi's Pocket Sivir was going to be an issue. We were actually wondering if it was going to be a counter pick AD carries between these two. Now, B-Void still has a wealth of champions he can play. Jinx is still on the table. He wants to go to that. Zeri as well. Both champions that can outrange and outduel the Sivir.
Kai'Sa and the Xayah have been banned out. You could see Weiser snag the Olaf. I think that would be extremely hype because he's got that in him. We haven't seen him play it, but it's, it's something in kind of all these really good Shad top laners pockets. Yeah. The Jax would make sense as well, which gives INTZ room to grab themselves that Olaf on R3, which is something that we have seen with INTZ's drafts. They have been picking the Olaf earlier and earlier for ZZK when they can.
Yeah, this is actually super interesting to me. Weiser did play Olaf once last split, so we know he can technically play it, but he hasn't liked it this split. Now, I would like to see Pain pick up their AD carry here, and okay, they're thinking the Zeri instead of the Jinx, so a bit more agency, a bit more strength. Now, it is risky to pick that into the likes of a Vi, who can kind of hunt you down, and what's curious as well is what they're going to pick to pair with this Zeri. Is it going to be an enchanter okay, I see the hover. I was going to say, I'm not going to address it, but they were hovering for a long time, and it's like, wait, do we have to talk about this? Thankfully, no.
Yeah, I personally am glad we don't have to, but yeah, we'll be the LeBlanc on the other side. Now, Sparris giving himself a champion with a lot of agency as well. This is a guy that can play kind of your stock standards, but he has these more high agency picks in his pocket, taking away the Tristana in response. Dinkedo not going to get to pilot that. The Ahri still on the board. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw that.
Yeah, interesting that you banned the Tristana. I do think Tristana can be punished by the LeBlanc, but they are very cautious about the early game from Pain. As we heard on the desk, Pain and INTZ, they are some of the best early game teams, the two best early game teams in this league. So I think both teams are recognizing that, hey, yes, team fighting is our forte, but we actually need to get there, and both of these teams can just shut down the mid game completely. Rumble being taken off the table by Pain. Olaf is still bannable. Pain, please.
It's that B_N space OL_F, right? I would like to solve the puzzle. It is ban Olaf. The Azir taken away from Dinkedo as well. We saw that. Okay, gonna ban away the Rakan from Nia. So they've got the opportunity here, and they can slam it very quickly in the fourth pick and leave themselves counter pick at support as well, right? Because you've already got the top laner locked in, but they're gonna make us wait. They're building up the tension, RMC.
Yep, and it makes sense, right? You want to give ZZK counter or as late pick as possible, not necessarily for lane counter pick, but just after you see what Pain have drafted in completion to try and figure out, okay, how can ZZK blow this game open? Here is the enchanters that we're talking about. Both Yuumi and Lulu would be a good pickup here, and both would, I think, stifle a lot of what ZZK wants to do in terms of jumping the backline. What's more interesting to me will be what mid laner do we see Dinkedo pick up? And there we go. Right. It is going to be the Nico. A bit more lane dominant than the LeBlanc, but we've seen the Nico struggle into a lot of the mobility that LeBlanc brings in the mid to late fights.
Braum is the hover here. We have seen this, and the Alistar picked up by Nia. These more defensive supports. Yes, you've got a headbutt pulverize, but the Lulu, like you said, still a very good option. Buffing up the Zeri, getting those shields, but also with that polymorph, right? I mean, we'll see what exactly is locked in here. We have seen the Sivir with the Olaf. It will be the Lulu. This feels like very early split 2 here. And RMC, if he wants to just take the game by the throat, the Renekton is certainly an option.
Yeah, we heard it from Kigo yesterday. Renekton is just busted in this top lane right now. The Ergon is not a hover! It's a lock!
INTZ fans rejoice. The last time that I can remember, when I think of INTZ Urgot, I think of Tay. When he played that at Worlds, yes, he teleported onto a ward that was right in front of him instead of doing whatever the heck else he meant to do. It was an unfortunate experience, but INTZ Urgot is back, baby.
Yeah, and ZZK did play it last split. I am trying to check right now if he won or if he lost with it, because he certainly did play it, and he actually lost with it, unfortunately. But it is a very lane oppressive champion, and I'm just thinking back to, you know, what Rude and Hawk were saying about that top lane, about leaving Wiser on an island. Urgot felt more like something that would fit that style, where you leave that champion alone. But it's not the typical ZZK champion that is going to just scale up and take over a game. No. Urgot does kind of fall off, especially in team fights. He's more of that hull breaker split push-esque champion. So a big swap up in how INTZ want to play the game. And for Pain, like you said, the style's the same, but they've gone back in time. This is definitely sort of last split or early this split style, front to back, just hyper scaling AD carry composition.
Wow. Well, I thought it was going to be spicy from the top lane. But yeah, like you said, this is a little bit more of an impressive pick, but it's another pick that, again, just allows ZZK to take over the game. Those corrosive charges can be very, very annoying to deal with. But zooming out a little bit here, I feel like we got so focused in on the micro. Let's talk about this. Yeah. I mean, this, do you still see the Lulu pick in the same light? So that to me is what's standing out from Pain's composition.
Yeah, I actually really like the Lulu pickup here. One thing that we did used to see with the Enchanters a lot was that they were actually winning a lot of the lanes against the engaged champions. He had the ability to disengage, the ability to poke down. And I feel like for Alistar, that's more true than ever. Alistar is actually one of the weaker laning engage supports. So I think this Zeri Lulu can definitely take over a lane. Where we've seen the engage supports fall off has been in the team fights. They do struggle a bit more. In terms of having the same impact, it's just an easy engage button. But with Wiser on Jax, with Karioka on the Maokai, I'm certainly less worried about that. And Dinkato being on the Nico, I don't think you need any more engage. I think the goal for Pain is just keep B-Voy alive, and for that, an Enchanter is definitely the perfect pick to support it.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of agency on that Zeri. The Jax picked up for Wiser. I remember when they played against Loud in the upper bracket, 2 splits ago in Game 5. Wiser had himself an immense Jax game. I think he got a quadra kill in that one, sent Loud to the lower bracket, and as we know, it was all downhill from there. The fan base is cheering them on. RMC, do you know exactly what's going on? I've seen this, 1,000 times, right? The Pain fans kind of standing in solidarity. Is there a name for that? Is that something you're doing right now?
No, I'm not currently doing that, but I remember it has something to do with supporting. It was a play, it was a moment from a couple of years ago. I don't remember the details of it, and I feel embarrassed to say that. So hopefully people in chat, you guys can enlighten me as to what the exact meaning of that is. It is definitely some sort of support for the team, though, and it's good to know that the Pain fans are behind them. I would like, at some point today, to get to see, the INTZ fans, because I have seen on Twitter videos of the INTZ fans welcoming in the INTZ team. There are INTZ fans out there right now.
The tension. My goodness. Wiser ZZK hovering there in the top lane. Yeah, no, I mean, in the skybox as well, the playoff atmosphere is very much well and set. Dinkato going to be on this Nico. Nico, one of these picks that we have talked about a bunch in CBLOL. But before we dive in too much to that, we do have Sofchan standing by on the sidelines with John Ray, the coach of Pain Gaming. Sophie, what do you got for us?
Excuse me, oh god, were you guys expecting that, and how are you going to deal with it?
Actually, yes, we were expecting Urgot. So we already knew that INTZ top used to play Urgot in Korean solo queue like a long time ago, and he already showed this Urgot on streams against us, so we were prepared. And early game will be kind of hard for Jax, but afterwards should be fine for us, so yeah, let's see how it goes.
I love the confidence. Alright, thank you so much. Back to Summoner's Rift.
Thank you, Joe. Hey, thank you, Sofchan. How do you feel about that analysis? That seems to track kind of with what we were saying, right? Urgot is a lane bully.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that Dion Ray actually predicted the potential Urgot coming out, because yes, he's used to play it, but it's so non-meta. And hey, props to the Pain coaching staff for knowing that it was a potential. Now the question is whether Wiser can actually play into it and be able to win out, because it is a little bit tough for the Jax, and I do think you might need a bit of jungle pressure to win this. You're already seeing the bullying style.
Yeah, you are. Wiser is taking a beating, man, with the W. Those shotgun knees purging the health right out of Wiser. He took the biscuits, so he knew this was going to be a rough one. He took the biscuits, he took the Doran shield, man, and just jumping onto his own minions. That's a rough one. ZZK's got a big old wave, ready to crash. He's got in a good spot right now. I'm excited to see. We were excited for the top lane, RMC. I did not think we were going to get it like this. Good pathing here from Yampy, going around the ward in the brush. Nosferus getting the not going electric, going with the fleet footwork. Yampy, very happy to wave goodbye to that lane for now.
Yeah, that makes top that much scarier because Karioka started on the top side, is pathing away. Wiser, already struggling in lane, makes him diveable if ZZK can restack that top side. And if Yampy, who is likely going to be in that area, that is very diveable early on.
You're telling me. Good golly, Miss Molly, that is so many minions. I mean,
I'm terrified.
You talk about, like, setting up and crashing a third wave, but this is just ridiculous. Yeah, and you see, like, yeah, Yampy getting ready to go up onto the top side. Dinketo making sure they know exactly where the INTZ jungler is. Both these players, Dinketo maybe in a little bit of trouble here. Going to take a combo from Nosferus, able to dodge the Q from the Nico. Pro Delta has the Ignite on him. The heal is popped by Pro Delta. B-Boy returning fire very nicely, though. And flashing, yeah, they're certainly looking for it. They get the flash out of Nia. Karaoke showing up. Might be too little too late. The fight is not over just yet, though. The shield going down. B-Boy taking one too many autos. Maybe that boomerang is bouncing. INTZ popping the heal. There's the spell shield. Karaoke gets a twisted advance down, but the fire is being returned by the INTZ bot lane. B-Boy not wasting a chance to get a little CS under his belt. RMC, it is getting tense early here, brother.
It is, and exactly as Rune and Hawk predicted, right? Karioka, Pain as a whole like to play this bot lane. They go down there, but this time they're not able to really win that out. Now, despite the fact that Ninja Kiwi and Nia walk away with the summoner advantage and having done more damage, it is very important to note that what B-Boy and Pro Delta did right there was actually deny away an entire wave. Ninja Kiwi and Nia couldn't pick up the CS, even with the bouncing boomerangs. They were losing it to minions because of the pressure that came down. So it's still a net win for B-Boy and Pro Delta, but honestly, a minuscule one.
ZZK taking that trade with Wiser with disdain, throwing down the wards. Yeah, Yampy came over there completely unannounced. Wiser, but he knows, right? He knows that the attention's coming to him. You saw him playing on that side of the lane. These are just the little things that make it that much harder to execute a gank. And he knows that if ZZK comes up to him, but now Wiser, yeah, maybe knowing that the threat is off.
I'm kind of scared because level 6 should be coming soon for solo lanes. Yeah. And the threat is off before level 6. If ZZK hits 6, that should be an almost instant harpoon and just hard commit into Wiser. Oh, Karioka is reading this, so Pain kind of know this. Problem is, Wiser's low enough that I think the level 6, it doesn't matter if Karioka shows up. I don't know if Karioka can solo out, and I think Wiser's just going to be dead if anything happens.
Tangle Barbs don't land. The Q able to get one tick onto Nosferus. Level 6, not as big a spike for the LeBlanc. That's a decent one. I mean, you get an extra ability there, but Dinketo still low. There's that level 6.
I want to give props to Nosferus for this laning as well. Generally, Nico has a slightly easier time of it. You just kind of just shove the wave, and it's hard for LeBlanc to trade using her Distort, so she's kind of limited to her chains and her Q. But we've seen multiple times now Nosferus able to actually land the change, and that has been what's making this advantage for Nosferus. And if you can keep that going at level 6, even with that Pop Blossom, there's still a lot of kill threat from LeBlanc and Vi with single target lockdown, and that will hold true in skirmishes on this side. In fact, we're already seeing the first objective being picked up. Yampy just rotating to that one. No fight being offered.
Priority in the bottom lane coming good here. Speaking of priority in lane, ZZK both top laners have blown their teleport. Look at that CS discrepancy in the top lane. Hang on a second. Nosferus, he's got help from Nia and Yampy. And it's a 3v1 that they were about to opt into and just running with their tails turned between their legs.
Part of me just wanted to see Dinketo just flash in and use that ultimate. Wouldn't have been able to kill. Nosferus had their flash up and available as well, but huge for Dinketo. And this is one of the things about the mid laners. We sit on the desk that these teams like to play to the side lanes. Part of that is because Nosferus and Dinketo are very independent mid laners. They don't need very much resources, and they're very, very safe. They don't die very often, even when the junglers get involved, and we're seeing that right there. Both of these mid laners can be clutch, and even when you're kind of ganking them, you always have to be careful in the back of the head that, hey, make sure we don't accidentally feed a kill over in these ganks. But for now, 4x4, it's 7 minutes in, and despite the tension
Yeah.
No kills have actually converted at this point.
No, not yet, but you can tell it's going to be soon. Yeah, and Dinketo, right, he went into the Hextech Alternator early, and Nosferos were just sitting there with the Kirkcase Shard and that combat power difference. We talk about that with the Static Shiv and the champions that build that. It's all well and good for the macro play, but in the micro, when we talk about, oh, you know, the carries are on 1 item, the carries are on 2 items, not all items are created equal as far as combat power.
For sure. It's a very different sort of combat power, right? The pull from Static Shiv is going to be good into the Nico, for sure. But all in, Nico's going to be able to win that. And because of that, that sort of window for why to start ganking kind of depends on the Maokai. If it's an all-in 2v2, they're going to lose that. Nia roaming once again has constantly been out here. Pro Delta, though, able to cover.
Yeah, and Pro Delta's done a good job of matching those roams. We've been seeing a lot of action around here. I'm almost surprised that because of that we didn't see a fight around Dragon. Sapling is going to catch Yampy, and now maybe Karaoke wants to go in here. Nia dissuading the engage. He might be caught with his pants down here. There goes the Pop Blossom. It's too much. The Wild Growth is going to bail out Yampy for now. Is it too little too late? First blood over to Pain Gaming, but they might trade their life for it. Flash out. Nosferos. Who said Kirkcase Shard wasn't combat power? B-Boy able to get there with a lightning crash and pick up 2 kills. Pain take the early skirmish 3-1.
B-Boy 4-4. That's who says Kirkcase Shard isn't a combat weapon. You kill my mid laner, I kill you and your support, and we make this even. B-Boy picking up those 2 kills is going to be massive as well. Because Ninja Kiwi and B-Boy have been so even up to this point, because they're both hyper carries, we've seen before. Just yesterday, Trigo picked up a couple early kills on that Zeri, became unkillable, and B-Boy is looking to do the same today.
Not a bad start for Pain Gaming here, and now that despite surrendering the first objective, they're going to get their hands on Shelly here early with that advantage, right? Kills are one thing, what do you do with them? That's another. Karaoke says thank you very much. Well, his way to the Demonic Embrace as well. That is such a nice early spike for the Maokai.
Okay, gonna be honest, I'm personally not a super big fan of AP Maokai. I'm always very scared when I see it because you don't have a true tank. Now, the fact that you have a Lulu, I think, it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about it. We've got the replay, and you can see that Pain were opting for these early engages. And I said before, right, the 2v2, Pain's gonna win that. They've got more AoE. That extends to the 3v3. And unfortunately for INTZ, the only damage source is Nosferos. And you could see Nosferos was not able to get in there in the initial bits. By the time he could, it was too late. Pain had the numbers advantage, and they just kept on rolling.
And that was a good decisive call by Pain, kind of taking advantage of the fact that INTZ were scattered for that brief minute, right? They saw that little vision, that little window where they saw, no, everyone's here. They're just at different spots. If we press all our buttons at the same time, we can take one down. And with B-Boy coming in hot behind them, you see the total gold reflects that. Ninja Kiwi doing very well, keeping up with the farm. But the fact that those 2 kills have gone in the pocket of B-Boy is helping him out tremendously. He's got himself that Static Shiv as well as the Cull and the Butter Knife in the inventory.
Now, there's not a meaningful advantage in any of the lanes right now. Because Ninja Kiwi has been doing such a good job just farming and keeping even with B-Boy, that's not significant. If there is a significant difference, it's actually ironically in favor of INTZ in this top lane. GCK has continued to pressure Wiser, and I'm a little bit concerned about what we're going to see in that top lane. I'm very happy that Pain managed to pick up the Herald, because that's one objective that ZZK won't be able to get to. But on that next Dragon fight, that's when we start seeing the choice come through. And it won't be for Pain. The choice is for INTZ. Do we leave ZZK to keep split pushing, getting plates, and getting further ahead? Or do we rotate him down to a team fight, which is not optimal for an Urgot, but he is that strong point for INTZ if they want a contest. Yeah, coming in.
Karaoke gonna throw down the Nature's Grasp. Nice buffer on the E for ZZK. Here comes that Unleashed Teleport. ZZK having to blow the flash. The stun comes in. Wild Growth up, and that will help secure the kill. Karaoke might be what's on the menu for breakfast. Nosferos teleporting back. The Tangle Barbs come through. Karaoke very well played on a knife's edge. Picking up 2 more kills for Pain Gaming, and they get one back, and the shutdown goes to Nia, unfortunately for INTZ.
Oh my, that topside play. Pro Delta, my GOAT right now. Like, the polymorph was on point. Nosferos went in and went into a cupcake, and it's like, oh no, this is not good. I mean, INTZ did great collapsing onto B-Boy, recognizing that, hey, we've got to find something somewhere else, but it feels like a little bit too late. And the fact that Nia picks up the bounty, that really hurts for INTZ.
Yeah, and that gold lead not created equal, but we're getting another look at it here. ZZK had no idea.
It was a super clean gank from Pain, and the fact that it took them that long to kill ZZK was a little bit worrying. You saw how much damage Karaoke had to tank up. And this should have been an instant kill, but the moment the distort came through, instant polymorph and Nosferatu knew they were shafted. I'd love to see what's happening on the other side of the map where B-Boy kind of got caught.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't get the replay for that. It just looks like they collapsed in on B-Boy trying to rotate from mid to top.
Yeah, and it's a good collapse by INTZ, like you were saying. But Pain Gaming have had the run of the map ever since that first dragon was taken by INTZ. But the fact that the lead is only 1,000 RMC speaks to, like you said, the one advantage that INTZ do have. And let it be known, it is a big one. For those of you that maybe don't know as much about League of Legends, that 123 to 86 number right there, those two numbers shouldn't be as far apart as they are.
No, that's like, what, 40... Yeah, 40 CS differential. We're like,
that's a lot.
Almost halfway to a flame horizon. We're at a bonfire horizon? Like,
Yeah, we're
getting there.
A bonfire sunset, sure, we'll call it.
Yeah, and what's scary too is, again, ZZK has the option of just building a hull breaker, and Weiser won't be able to respond. Things will go from bad to worse. Now, look at the plates in the top lane. There's only one plate left for INTZ in that top lane, but that was with a 3-man push plus a Herald. What we're seeing, Weiser is down to 2 plates, or 2.5.
Yeah.
That is just solely ZZK pushing. We've not been seeing Yampy up in this top lane pressuring under turret. Weiser,
oh my goodness. The fear beyond death doesn't let. I think Weiser saw as soon as he took that lethal damage, he goes, oh, I'm in danger, and just flashed away immediately. Oh boy.
He preempted it. He flashed, like, even before the animation started. Weiser knew he was in trouble. And great call on him. He will, however, get pushed back. ZZK actually opting to go back and buy. I was expecting ZZK to pressure a little bit harder and actually try and get more plates. And now the window is closed. Plates are gone. So 2.5 plates. Could have been 3. Not quite.
Yeah, and that is a little surprising. I mean, maybe I'm looking, there aren't really any deep wards. You see the turret plating here, yes, in favor of Pain Gaming, but for all intents and purposes, really close. Only a 200, 175 gold difference between the two teams as far as what they were able to get done on that front. Now, Sparrow's going to pick up the first tower of the game, much more crucially, on the LeBlanc, using his pushing power very, very well. Karaoke not actually on his way to that demonic embrace, and to be fair, to kind of to your point,
Yes, thank you.
we haven't really seen the demonic embrace be built as much by Maokai. I think that was part of the nerfs, you know, trying to take him down from being this ubiquitous juggler. Is look, you have point and click CC, you've got a couple forms of that, some long range engage potential as the tower is answered on the other side by Weiser. Let's just make sure you don't do that insane amount of damage. So he's gone with the Radiant Virtue instead.
You know what? I think I've been watching too much CBLOL Academy. A lot of the Maokais there were building Demonic Embrace.
It's way more fun. I look, as an Amumu
It's true.
enjoyer myself, the Demonic Embrace slam on kind of your, you know, hybrid AP tank type champions, it's just way more fun.
It's super fun on Amumu too, because you just tell them cry harder, right?
Yeah, literally. Literally. And it's, oh wait, you can't. No one can cry harder than me.
Yup. Well, Maokai though, again, the damage is nice, and it does give a lot of sort of vision and utility, but I'm liking the tank build a little bit more for Pain specifically, also because they don't have a dedicated front line. And yes, Lulu can make somebody tanky, but ideally you want to keep that for B-Boy Dinkedo.
Dinkedo maybe in some trouble here. The Wild Growth Pro Delta trying to turn Dinkedo into a tank, but the shutdown goes to ZZK. He picks it up with the Fear Beyond Death. Karaoke having to abandon the Herald. They wanted a Herald, and INTZ showed up and said, no, you got to contend with us first. They've got the numbers advantage. This will be pretty much uncontested. INTZ punching back here, RMC.
Yeah, and that was the initial concern. Like, when ZZK gets to the fight, what happens there? ZZK not opting for the Hull Breaker, went for the Black Cleaver instead, which certainly helps a lot for Ninja Kiwi. They put double Black Cleaver for maximal shred plus the Vi in order to get Ninja Kiwi online, and it paid dividends in this fight. Now, Dinkedo did not get Pop Blossom off. If he gets the Pop Blossom off, the fight gets a lot closer. But even then, I would still favor INTZ in this early skirmish, and I think INTZ, they recognize that, and I want to see them continue to accelerate the pace of this game. Drag it a minute and a half, they can replicate that.
Yeah, I was worried a little bit when we were seeing kind of the, you know, the 0-0-0, the 0-1-0 for ZZK, because it was such a phenomenal textbook. This is exactly what you wanted. It's like even, you know, Payne's coach that we saw Sofchan interviewing earlier. He said, yeah, the Jax is going to struggle. This is going to be ugly for him early. And it was. That was exactly what happened. But if you can't do anything with that lead, then it doesn't really matter. You see the gold is dead even for all intents and purposes. ZZK in some trouble here. The only attention being paid to the top lane is that of the Pain Gaming jungler, forcing the flash from ZZK. You got what you came for.
Yeah, it's such a role reversal. I'm so used to seeing Weiser be the one to demand these resources and, you know, other junglers having to respond to it, but Yampy's been having to run the map elsewhere and has been able to put the pressure down as well. Now, I'm looking at INTZ as well, how they're playing this mid game. we talk about the fact that yes, they do actually want a team fight right now when they're in their powers fight, but we're seeing sort of the blueprint for the late game as well. One thing we didn't touch on, LeBlanc and Sivir both have incredibly good wave clear, especially with Static Shiv on the LeBlanc, and we're seeing that right now with the perma push. Ninja Kiwi just shoves out mid lane repeatedly. You can't touch that turret. Nosferus goes and split pushes with teleport, and right now, Pain don't have a great answer into the Nosferus. Yes, Dinkato can hold away, but the kill threat's not there in the extended lane. And because of that, INTZ's macro in this mid game has completely taken over. They're getting turrets down all over the place, and Pain don't have an answer.
And it's rough when you just got the one split push threat, right? ZZK, he hasn't even built that hull breaker yet. If that does in fact come in, we'll see. Second Herald summoned here. Gonna probably break down this mid lane tier 1, and indeed, hey, right into the tower we go. INTZ, you said it, taking turrets all over the place. A really clean mid game from them.
Yeah, huge boost. They took, I think, all 3 turrets in pretty close fashion. Actually, no, the inner bot lane is still up. So that's gold that INTZ has, but it's not gold they've spent yet. So if they want to fight, they should try and fight right now. Dinkato's clone just giving them vision. He's looking for entrance, has flash, has purple.
He's waiting for it. There goes your CC. Not even will he get the Proto Belt or the Pop Blossom off this time. He does get it, but it's just onto 1. They chase Yampy out of the fight. That's a big source of CC. Not going to be available for him. B-Void might be in some trouble here. He can kite backwards. He's got the wild growth. He's got no problem. And this is the fight that they wanted. Oh. Fight now, Pain Gaming. Your biased caster has shown you the way, and you obey for a 4-for-0.
Thank you, Pain. I was calling for Dinkato. They didn't even need it.
No.
And that's the beautiful thing about the Pop Blossom. Yes, it only caught 1, but it split up INTZ because they were trying to avoid it. And we saw what happens to a Vi, and Vi is calling for the Lulu because Vi in with no support. And if you can't kill that Zeri, Zeri will just mop up the fight. It took a while for B-Boy to chew through, but B-Boy did. And more critically, Ninja Kiwi wasn't able to freely auto them.
And that's saying something because he got a good chunk of damage down. Yeah, B-Boy did 4,000, but the second most in that fight, you saw the damage graph at the bottom of your screen, was 2,500. Let's take another look at this. Pain Gaming got a bunch of advantages off the back of it, but it started off, we were looking at it based on that river fight upstairs. We wanted Dinkato to get the Pop Blossom off, and like you said, kind of didn't matter.
Yeah, and watch where B-Boy and Ninja Kiwi go, right? The fact that the dive happens onto B-Boy here, and B-Boy is able to survive. Then watch what happens to Ninja Kiwi, because we think of Sivir as being able to shred through a lot of people, but her range is actually shorter. So when Pain is just running away from her, Ninja Kiwi spent half the fight running at the fight, and then another quarter of the fight running away from the fight when he said, he goes, wait, I'm too deep, and I have no more frontline. They got chewed through by B-Boy. And that's why we didn't see the massive Sivir numbers we expect. This comp is not the easiest front to back for INTZ. It takes a little bit more, setup to be able to enable this Sivir.
When Pain Gaming played that fight backwards very, very well, right? You saw Ninja Kiwi and ZZK, they were dumping all their resources basically into Karaoke. ZZK in some trouble here. Dinkato gonna pop the teleport. In he goes. Proto Belt, Plot Blossom, thank you very much. Good night. Jeez. That was violent. That went through very, very quickly. 3 kills now for Wiser.
Is seafood a luxury in Brazil, in Sao Paulo?
Yeah.
4-4, because Pain wanted crab on the menu, and they went hard for it.
Yeah, and would you call the ergot imitation crab?
I don't know what sort of crab that is. That is not a crab
I would not eat it. Yeah, no, thank you. No, big Japanese community in Sao Paulo. Fun fact, the largest Japanese population outside of Japan is in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Real? Oh, wow. That is actually really, really interesting.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, really good sushi in Sao Paulo, bottom line, but it's not on the menu there, ZZK. He's got himself the Jack Show now, a couple big items coming in, and on that last fight as well, I wanted to kind of, not the one where ZZK just got munched through, but in that fight where, like you said, Ninja Kiwi kind of went too deep, they lost track of Wiser in that fight, because he kind of played backward, Karaoke soaked up a lot of pressure, and then they collapsed, right, and Wiser got the 3-man stun off.
Yeah. And part of that is because they thought, hey, Nosferus here dealing with a geyser. Turns out no.
Right? Nosferus?
Hopefully in the next couple of fights, I do think Nosferus now having completed Night Harvester, will be able to poke a little bit more effectively. Now keep in mind, patch 13.15, Night Harvester got changed so that it doesn't proc off the static shiv.
Yeah.
You need to auto attack or actually cast a spell to proc it. But that shouldn't be too hard as long as you don't get polymorphed by Pro Delta. And that's another thing we'll have to keep an eye on. Where's Pro Delta on these flanks? Because Nosferus' worst nightmare right now is actually the support, not everything else.
Oh, Nia's worst nightmare. They want crab, they want beef, they want everything. Having to pop the unbreakable will
Serpent
here.
turf, baby.
Yeah, amen, brother. Nosferus maybe looking for a flank onto Pro Delta. He's got the sweeper down, but they're still just bullying Nia. They're not there to bail out their support. They are leaving him for dead. And now Nia actually with the cheeky, ooh, almost with the flash able to get away. Oh, Diketo blows his own flash, and he's got himself 4 kills. Now a big numbers advantage. But here comes the TP. INTZ smelling blood in the water. As soon as that TP came down, they said, nope, just kidding. It was a prank, guys. Haha. We didn't know. No.
They were smelling blood, but it was Nia's. You do not want to engage into that. Nosferus now playing with fire a little bit as well. If that Counter-Strike lands, Nosferus dies. And I kind of like this from INTZ. They recognize that, hey, we didn't win the last front-to-back. We are not confident in our front-to-back, despite having Jackshow and Black Cleaver. ZZK is building for a team fight, but the champion's not designed for us. They're saying, you know what? We introduce chaos. We go for the flanks. We've got the buy. We've got the blunt. We've got great pick potential if we don't get picked in the process.
Yampy doing a very good early season Grell impression, just in the enemy's jungle with no good reason, but is able to get out. So, all's well that ends well, I suppose. Yeah, but like you said, RMC, this fight, this composition for INTZ, this is tough to execute, right? And like you said, you've got no true tank. That's true for both teams, but no true tank here. The Jackshow is going to help ZZK survive, and that Black Cleaver kind of tells you everything you need to know, right? Is yes, you have a lot of good CC, you've got a flank angle, right, from your jungle support, and then you've got this chaos element a little bit with Nosferus on this LeBlanc, a champion that he's very, very good on. We've seen him succeed at high levels, but at the end of the day, it's coming down to Ninja Kiwi. All that armor shred does you a fat load of nothing if Ninja Kiwi can't get rolling.
Now, Pain don't know, and INTZ is starting to get rolling on this Baron. It's down to almost half health. Do they see it? Think they'll see it now?
Playing for the flip, Yampy going over the wall, lightning crash down, and there's the ult to get another shutdown kill for ZZK. Wiser able to get in, gets the stun onto ZZK. Nosferus looking for a good angle. He's found one, but too much damage coming in from B-Boy. That's just how it goes. Nosferus can't wipe the whole team. Karaoke and Wiser are able to soak up enough pressure. Nosferus is taking someone down with him, gets the shutdown. Wiser gets it back, 4 for 2 for Pain Gaming.
Call Wiser Avenger the way he's cleaning up these fights after B-Boy goes down. That's multiple times now. Anybody who goes after B-Boy has to deal with Wiser, constantly just whacking them there. And for INTZ, that Baron, that was a cheeky attempt at Baron. I'm not going to call it bad. It's not a Baron play. They were trying to sneak it away, and they actually set up well for it. They denied vision. They got in successfully, but they just didn't have enough sustained damage to actually take it in Pain. Sniffed it out, forced the fight like they should, and now the game's snowballing in Pain's favor. And once again, look at the setup. There's no vision for Pain into this river, so Diketo has to go in blind. Diketo doesn't get a Pop Blossom off in this fight, unfortunately. I don't know if it's up or not, because sometimes that's bugged. But either way, he wasn't going to be able to do it. So it's a 4v5, and Pain are actually able to turn this. The key is just keep B-Boy alive. If you can keep the massive, big ultimates off of him, specifically Yampi's, you're good to go. He's got agency. And Nosferus here, that's a huge play from Nosferus. That is the silver lining, that at least we killed this area, so we didn't lose the ball.
And you talk about the big ultimates, right? That went into, pretty much everything went into Diketo, right? And he took all those big high-impact ultimates. He took the Fear Beyond Death. The Wild Growth was put onto him. INTZ, maybe they've got a flank angle here with ZZK. The Shirelles was popped. Maybe Pro Delta saw something there.
Flanks the flanker.
Karaoke soaking up the damage very nicely here. That Randuin's going to give him a lot of extra beefiness as well as the Wild Growth. Nature's Grasp going out. Unstoppable. Pop Blossom down. Yampy is toast. He went in. It was a one-way trip that he did not sign up for. Little by little, this game is indeed getting out of control for INTZ. Pain Gaming putting a bit of a stranglehold on this one. The gold wouldn't really have you believe it, right? 3,500 at 26 minutes, that's not that bad. But the kills and the map controller starting to get it back.
Okay, Nosferus lost the, shall we call it, like, poke war between him and his support. And we said it before, Lulu is LeBlanc's worst nightmare right now. Half health on this Baron. 4K.
Wiser and Karaoke taking a lot of damage from those spikes. Nia in, they've got no jungler, and Karaoke able to secure it. Now they've got the numbers advantage. This could be where the game is broken open. The members of INTZ are falling like dominoes, but ZZK gets one from downtown. He's been pretty good with the ultimates, but at what cost? Pain Gaming, little by little, they get the Baron. That's now the 3rd shutdown ult kill that ZZK has gotten. And that's all great, but for what?
for a mutated crab lobster thing, which can't fulfill its role. And it looks like ZZK has completely abandoned the idea of a split push. INTZ as a team have called and said, no, we want to keep on team fighting. And I'm going to be honest, for I don't know that that's the right call for this INTZ squad. One thing that I noticed leading into this game, and one of the reasons why I predicted that this would be a one-sided matchup in terms of the series score, was Pain and INTZ play the exact same way. And the problem is when both teams throw rock, the team that throws it better is just going to win every single time. And that's what we're seeing in this game. And so I'd love for INTZ to swap out the strategy. You're not going to win the team fights. Not when you lost 3 back-to-back. Switch to split push. Switch to pick.
You got to try something else. And Ninja Kiwi, he's not able to have the impact that he wants to on these fights either. Right? ZZK, he, like you said, Sivir, if you get to that late game, she can shred, but that range is becoming an issue. They want to take these kind of up-close and personal fights, but Pro Delta, with the way he has been playing, like you said, with the polymorphs, but the wild growths have also been very disruptive. Karaoke and Wiser kind of soaking pressure and then retaliating with a bunch of CC on their own, right? They're being very, very patient with their abilities.
We've got our match for tomorrow as well on the screen there. Loud versus Red, the current champions facing off against the former champions. A match every bit as big, as O Clásico. But for now, O Clásico has to finish off. It's looking like a huge push from Pain. I don't think they can end on this unless they wipe out INTZ. But INTZ has to be careful, especially if they want to try and flag.
Karaoke throws out a sapling. B-Boy kiting very nicely. Auto-queuing to his heart's content. Wiser is in that mid lane. They've got the TP able to match, though, 2-on-2 on each side. But Pain Gaming, like you said, these two teams, they play similarly. We've talked about it. And right now, Pain just winning on the margins. And that was kind of our, you know, O Clásico 2023 for dummies, right? What do you need to know in 1 second here? These two teams want to play the same. They've got volatility in the top lane. Junglers will want to be all over the place. And because they both do the same thing, Pain does it a little better, they're going to kind of squeak out wins. And that's what this has felt like.
Definitely, and the kill score just because the wins keep happening. Now, engage from Pain to take this turret down. They're not looking for kills, but they'll take them if they can get them.
I mean, the tower's down. Kills might be next on the menu. Karaoke gets the wild growth. The pop
Get
pass
up.
is forward. Very, very nice. That's the best one he's hit all game, but it might not be enough. B-Boy gets gobbled up. It all goes sideways. What happened? Pain Gaming got everything they wanted out of that, and somehow they are getting blown off the map. 4-0 INTZ.
I need a replay for it because I don't know what happened either. The turret was down, so that was neutral ground that they were fighting in. And honestly, Dinkato getting a 4-man Pop Blossom should have won the fight. So I know for sure Ninja Kiwi did manage to spell shield that. Now I do want to talk about it lead into that as well because Wiser didn't have Baron. That's why Pain felt the need to force that bot side to maximize the last bits of that Baron. But it did come back to bite them, and it looks like it might just be Wiser not getting to the fight in time. Because look at Wiser. He's still mid, and it's a 4v5 to kick things off. Pop Blossom goes down, but Wiser isn't there, and by then, as always, ZZK, you've got to pay the ZZK tax. The fight becomes a 4v5, but it's a 3v5 because Wiser isn't there.
Yeah, he got in there. He got the fear off right after the ultimate. And he despaired or disdained, whatever the E, right? He jumped forward, got the fear off, and that was it, right? The lightning crash was fine. In theory, that's enough. But very well done by INTZ, doing kind of what Pain did, is, you know, playing backwards very, very well. And INTZ, or ZZK rather, having finally just a really good impact here. And now he's going just full tank. But with the threat of that ultimate, the ultimate and the fear that goes off after it, I mean, that's going to be just devastating. He's got the stopwatch as well. That's on his way to a Guardian Angel. Hang on just a second, RMC. We got a ball game.
Yeah, now keep in mind, stopwatch items, of course, very important. There's only one stopwatch on the side of INTZ. Pain have 2 hourglasses plus a GA, so Pain actually want to be forcing the next team fight as fast as they can before INTZ can look to match. Now, what form that fight takes, Baron's coming up in a minute, or Pain want to brute force that mid lane inhibitor. They could probably take that. It's not the healthiest, and that's why we're seeing INTZ pressure up. Because INTZ, if they lose a fight this far out, it's not game over, and they recognize that, hey, we want to be on the front foot. We want to make sure that we've got vision, and we don't let Pain take the reins in this game.
Kind of micro question for you. Does Mikhail's cleanser got ult?
I want to say yes. I think it cleanses almost anything. I know it cleanses suppresses.
Yeah.
So
And that feels like it's a suppress.
it does.
Right? Like the first bit. Maybe it's like before the pull.
Yeah, well, because the execute, yeah, you can't cleanse the execute. If
Right.
that happens, it happens. So what will be interesting, and I trust Pro Delta enough that if it does work, he's going to be able to do it.
Oh,
His
100%,
mechanics
yeah.
this game have been on point. His ability to stop Nosferus has been nothing short of phenomenal. And Pro Delta has also made sure that he's never the one actually tanking that damage, which
Yep.
is good Enchanter play. So we might get the answer to our question sooner than we think.
Yeah, let's see if I can know which little sparkle that goes off. Is it the wild growth? Is it the McHale's? Is it something else? There's a lot of little sparkly things to keep track of for my play-by-play brain here. 3,000 gold lead for Pain Gaming. They set up around the Baron. A little bit of A-ramming in the mid lane. The TPs are up all over the place except for Dinketo. Now Sferis, he's come back with a Void Staff now. We talk about that combat power and how the static shift kind of holds you back. I mean, he's a death cap short of being an absolute monster. Hang on a second here. Picking the fight here. They've got the numbers advantage. Wiser isn't there, and that's all that INTZ want to pull the trigger. Pro Delta is low. Nosferis going forward. The Polymorph. Pro Delta almost took Nosferis down.
Okay, but that is the TP burnt from Nosferus, which was kind of unnecessary. And I respect what INTZ did. They saw the TP from Wiser, and it was a great call. They went, we 5v for this. But now, Baron started up by Pain, despite Pro Delta's low health.
Shirelia's down, Mikhail's down, Dinketo gets the big pop blossom. Can they convert on it this time? There's that stopwatch. Ninja Kiwi gets CC'd. He's rooted. He can auto, but all he's doing is trying to survive. Will he be useful in the team fight? He can't. He doesn't die, but it doesn't matter. B-Boy kites ZZK like Ben Franklin, trying to have some fun in a lightning storm. And Nosferis is taking Pro Delta down, but Pain Gaming pretty confident they're going to walk away winners in this one, 2-1. They go after the Baron again. A shutdown for B-Boy.
INTZ trying to find what they can, where they can, able to get that top side turret. I think they picked up the bot one as well. They got another shove, and now Nosferus just playing the annoyance, but has to be careful about Wiser.
Dinketo extremely low. Just kidding, I got bamboozled. It happens to the best of us.
It's Nico things, man. Yappy, okay. They might actually be able to buy enough time. Ninja Kiwi looking to clean up.
No, Ninja Kiwi, because remember, he didn't die. The spell shield's right through the Maokai ultimate. If he could just free fire. Wiser trying to go forward here. The GA going off the shutdown on Nosferis, but it's not enough. They pounced before INTZ pulled the trigger.
It's those stopwatch items 4x4. The fact that we had to track them, and that's why we said Pain need to go now. They were able to maximize. They were able to get the Baron with that. And now the big question, of course, is what can you find with Baron? Because last time Pain tried, they cracked an inhibitor, or inhibitor turret, pardon me. They didn't actually take the inhibitors. Thank you, cameraman. But they also lost the follow-up fight. Now, Dragon's coming up. It's Soul for Pain. So do they want to take this Dragon, or do they actually want to maximize the Baron? Or both? INTZ's not there to respond. The death timer's too long.
Yeah, these death timers are finally starting to get to be an issue here. Only 5,000 gold, the lead for Pain Gaming. So they are going to have themselves an Ocean Soul. We hadn't really been talking much about the Dragons this game, but it has finally come to fruition here for Pain Gaming. They surrendered the first one. They surrendered one in the middle there, but 3 Ocean Drakes plus the Soul. And the Anathema's Chains also picked up by Karaoke. Phenomenal. They have a bit of a... Well, actually, okay, now that I'm thinking about this, who do you put the Anathemas on? Nosferis or Ninja Kiwi?
Nosferis. Yeah. Nosferis, 100%. Because Nosferis is the only AP damage, and you just put it on the magic damage and just build armor all the way. Yes, there's a lot of shred from Black Cleaver, but the more armor you have, the less effective that shred is. So I think 100% on Nosferis, and then you just CC out that little.
Yeah. Making this a lot easier to fight. Yeah, really good itemization choice by Karaoke. 1-1 and 20. How's that for kill participation? 21 out of 22. And you see, it's reflected across the numbers here. 1, 1, 20. Oh, hang on a second. No numbers, 4x4. It's time to fight. Pop Blossom in. That did so much damage. Hey-yo. But INTZ still got 2 big bodies and a lot of damage. If they want to do something about it, B-Boy getting low. The Polymorph. Pro Delta playing defense on the Lulu like a champion. Keep your 80 carry safe. He'll win the game for you. Game 1 goes to Pain Gaming. B-Boy on the Zeri putting on a clinic as Tradição, the traditionals, take Game 1 of a Clásico.
It wouldn't be tradition if Pain couldn't make it past the first round, and, you know,